language, it's Phoebe Sutherland. Abato Gishko Wagasko Isko, Phoebe Sutherland Dishnakasun. And that's, my name is, when the sun is at its highest, I am the sweetgrass woman, but my English name is Phoebe Sutherland. I am your moderator and host this evening for the town of Moosonee's first mayoral debate. We're hoping for like a lot more excitement than that, but we'll see how it goes this evening. But let's welcome before we welcome our panelists, the candidates for the office of the mayor of the town of the corporation of Moosonee. We would like to first acknowledge the traditional territory of the Ililulu people. People here lived here since time immemorial, and signatories to the Treaty 9 that we recognize here. I'd like to thank Diane Ryder and her team of volunteers to reach out to me. I'm not really big in Moosonee politics or anything. I only kind of come here to, go to the bank, go to my auntie's store. Just kidding. Use the airport train, but my family's from here, Moosonee. Certainly I went to high school here. I'm on Husky. Went to Northern Lights before we had our own high school on the island, but want to make sure that we're here to remember the people that these people are trying to get your votes. And we did, or the committee did reach out to all the candidates to invite them to this evening's proceedings. I believe it is not being live streamed, but it is being recorded I believe to be sent on or posted on a platform later on, so that'll be something to link to other people that aren't here. And before we get on to our candidates' opening remarks, just want to go through a few things. There was a basket that was available near the front for people to ask questions that will be answered by the candidates this evening. Each candidate will be starting out with the opening remarks of 3 minutes for your opening remarks. You'll be given a 30-second time warning, and then we'll be asking you to wrap up after the 3 minutes. Then we will be having the Q&A questions. I'll be going through those, and if there's ones that are pretty ask quite a few, then I'll be answering those. If there's specific ones that you want to ask that aren't, then you'll be given an opportunity if time allows. After the Q&A session, we'll be asking the candidates to wrap up with a 2-minute closing remarks at the end. And then if there's any other questions, please only ask questions of the people that are here, that are present, to find out what they want to do or how they want to serve the people of your community. And just, use your words this evening. If it gets out of hand, we have the EMS here. We have my friend Rome in the back. I'm pretty sure he'll back me up. But we can certainly. I'm just kidding. Hopefully it doesn't get down to that. But I'm glad that they asked a woman who one of my main job is I'm a musher, so I deal with dog fights every day. And I just want to know that hopefully we won't be getting to that, but definitely, we'll keep things very calm and at a respectful tone. So since we are just going to be starting, and we have the microphone now at the front, and make sure your phones are turned down. If you do go live, please make sure you mention me, hashtag #MooseCreamMusher, 'Musher, 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 So without further ado, I'd like to invite our candidate for mayor of the town of Moosonee. We'll ask Jennifer Tozer. Would you like to open your remarks? There's a microphone right there. If you want it there. Okay.
Thank you for opening.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Okay, so why I'm running for mayor, it's weird to hear my voice, so I grew up my adulthood here. I didn't grow up as a child here, but my adult life, I moved here when I was about 21. I've lived here for 13 and a half years, counting. In that time I was a paramedic. I'm not any longer a paramedic, but I still care about the community. I still want to be an advocate to the community. I still have a passion for helping people, and so that's why I threw my name in the ring. And I think I have a good voice and I have good skills that can come up and help everybody achieve what we need to achieve. So I think that we need to focus on positive things. The town has been doing improvements and stuff like that, but like there are realistic short-term goals with communication being like the biggest key factor, like website. There's no communication on there. There's no business directory. There's no tourism stuff. We need to increase the people who come here. We need to increase homes. We need to increase economic development. We need to increase things for kids in the future so that they think that they have hope for a future. Because I picked up so many people throughout the year that I watched them grow up. I'm sorry, I'm gonna get upset, but in my job as a paramedic, and I watched people grow up over 13 years doing this job, and I watched systems fail them. And I'm not trying to place blame, but the systems aren't set up for everybody to win. And so when I see these things happen and they talk to me and say, people don't care, they just do the bare minimum here. They don't really care about us, they don't care. And so I told them, I was like, no, people do care. People get busy with their lives, but we do care, and we're gonna try, people as a community are gonna try our best to move forward. And so I think that we need to build partnerships and relationships and connections with people in the town to rebuild community with other municipal offices like Cochrane in the district, Kapuskasing, Timmins, etc. Other like municipal affairs offices, other councils, Mushkegowuk, Moose Cree, other First Nations, to come together to collectively figure out where and how we can improve with all that can be done for here. Because I think it's just a matter of being able to go out there and talk to people and explain to them why it is that we need and deserve the things that we, 30-second warning, that we need. So I did prepare cue cards, but anyways, I would just be off reading them. But I hope to be a voice and an advocate for insightful change, and I hope that I can get your support to do what's best for everybody in the community, not just a select few. Thank you, and good luck to you next. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you for opening up the statements today. And now, Randy, we got your 3 minutes.
Welcome. Wajie, kwekwe, nanajipa maradas and Randy and Dishikazu. I'm a 57-year-old man. My father's an Indigenous man. I've been told bluntly today that I'm not allowed to say Aboriginal, and I'm not allowed to say Native, and I'm not allowed to say Indian, but I am Indigenous. So, to start with that, in 2019 I retired from Moosonee here as a sergeant. I was chief of my First Nation community for 4 years down south. I stood on Parliament Hill and fought for Aboriginal rights, and I just said it again, Indigenous rights, I'm sorry. I'm a strong leader in leadership abilities, and I do not believe in status quo. Just being good enough isn't good enough. It's not good enough. This community is a diamond in the rough. It's about to explode with a hospital. It's going to explode with people who are going to come in droves here, and we better be prepared. Our Elder Center, I want to spearhead with our great council to get that Elder Center back to being an Elder Center. Not with people running through their own rooms and taking money from their purses or from their wallets. And I'm seeing this. Seeing things happening over there that are just an atrocity. It's got to stop. Either it's an apartment building or it's a seniors complex. one or the other. We have to look after our elders. Tourism, we need to make Moosonee the destination of destinations. It was years ago when 1,000 people got off that train. I've heard from the elders how they would sell their crafts along the road. That's coming back if I'm elected. That we're going to have folks are going to be able to sell their wares. They're going to be able to sell their crafts, and we're going to be proud. When people get off that train, we're going to have our artists. I've already talked to the Ontario government today about the OPP station becoming an art gallery. We need that kind of stuff. You're beautiful artists here. Why isn't it being displayed? The swimming pool. I've already talked to 4 doctors. 4 doctors. They're all willing to start partnershiping into paying to try to build a doctor's cultural center. And I'm going to go at every doctor. I'm going to go to the rural and I forget the word for it, the isolated communities, and I'm going to open up a dialogue to open that meeting. I want everyone to understand that the roads are priority. The days of putting sand on top of sand are over if I get in. We want good quality gravel. We want quality gravel and save on that grader blades. We don't need it. I don't know what you guys drove in today, but the mud was horrific. It's got to stop. Every time a cloud drives over Moosonee, we have mud. There's got to be a formula out there. Okay? I thank you very much, and we'll touch on other bases as we get going along. Thank you.
Thank you to Jennifer and Randy for your opening remarks. I hope you guys realize that that was the first one. Now it's going to get harder. What's the square root of... I'm just kidding. I'm just going through some of the questions here, and one of the big ones, and some of these are overlapping. We are quite aware of the opioid crisis and how present it is in our town, in our communities. What is your plan at the local level to try to combat this issue? Randy, if you want to answer first. The mic's right there.
Well, as a retired OPP officer, I'll tell you something. The wheel that makes the most noise gets hurt. I am not one bit afraid to go to the detachment commander here, or the regional chief superintendent, or the commissioner to say that our pandemic is not COVID anymore, and it never really has been. What it is, our pandemic, our epidemic here is opioid. They are killing our kids. Fentanyl is killing our kids. We just lost 4. We didn't lose 1, we lost 4. It's time to get serious about this. It's time for us to bind together as a community and have strong leadership. That we say, when instead of the tail wagging the dog's going to wag the tail under my leadership. We're not going to put up with this anymore. Status quo isn't good enough. We're going to go at these drug dealers. We're going to push them out. And when they get off the train coming from their big cities, they've been told to get back on the train. How am I going to do that? I'm going to build a community that is proud. And we're going to stop this. We're going to identify our drug dealers. If it means we have to go in front of their houses and picket out on the road, we will. It's time for the dog to wag the tail. Until it's one of our own children, we don't do anything. And I'm guilty too. We have to take this back. If we don't do this as a community, and we bind together as a community, we are all guilty. But with good, strong leadership, you need someone at the wheel. And I, as your mayor, I'll be seen and I'll be heard, and I'll stand up for right and moral values that have to be put in check. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy. And another way of saying that, oh my goodness, I will need to bring out my reading glasses, but okay. Drug use in our town, I'm just going to go from the words. Yeah, so in our town among young people is high. And what is your plan to stop it? And what you'll be doing to keep them busy? So that's your question. Thank you.
So yeah, I am quite aware that there is a drug problem. As a paramedic, I witness that quite a bit. But what we also have is, that means an addiction problem, that means we have a trauma problem, that means we have a hope problem, and we don't have enough for the youth to do. No matter if we shame the drug dealers, which won't always work, because there's just gonna be more that come out, we aren't addressing the root cause of the problem. There is not enough things to do here. There was a research about cocaine use in rats, and a Playland study, and they used much less cocaine when they had actual things to do. That's the same here. If there were, and I'm not saying that this is not, the drug problem is just gonna go away like that if we get things for kids to do. No, we need to be proactive. We need to teach them about drugs. We need to teach them the addiction. We need more services available so that the kids don't feel like that's their last and only hope, or an outcry to say like, hey, I need help, but they have no words to use that because they haven't been taught that. So, yeah, just openness, public health safety, addressing the needle issues so that it's not hurting more community members. Because I mean, I know that has been a problem. I found quite a bit in my yard. I've lived in all different parts of the town here, so I mean, and it's everywhere, and it's sad, and I think we need to come together to work for a solution that works for everyone. And I wish that it were a simple solution, but we all know it's not. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. All right, and going from some of the questions here, safety in the community. What more can be implemented to prevent, as a community, to address drug dealers coming in and to the community, aware that this work needs to be done together, but what are your ideas for safety in the community? Anyone from the panel?
I don't know, are we going back? Am I,
You can go first if you want, Jennifer.
can you repeat the question?
Yep,
again?
okay, sorry. For safety in the community,
Yeah.
what more can be implemented to prevent, as a community, to address the drug dealers coming in, and as we need to be aware that we must work together as a whole. So I think that person was really focusing on the safety of the community.
So the safety in the community in regards to drugs, or all safety?
I think they use the example of, there's drugs coming into the community. I think both you have touched on it, but
Okay,
if you want to talk about safety in our community.
Okay, so safety, so as part of the municipality, like, we are responsible for working with police services, and so that we can talk to them and see how we can better support them, maybe get a community watch together, things like of that nature. I mean, I sort of touched on some of this other stuff, but other people have said that they should bring up canine dogs more often, things like that. But so safety in town, I mean, like sidewalks, better lighting, being lit up at parks at night, because that's where a lot of the stuff happens. I don't know if anybody's aware, but that is where a lot of it goes down, in those little places that are dark at night, which doesn't promote play, it doesn't promote wellness, it doesn't promote safety, and it just promotes usual illegal activities and vandalism. Safety, road safety, I mean, we could have better substrate, more substrate, different graders. I don't know what else more to say about that per se. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Jennifer.
May I address that?
Yes, good.
I think our community's missing something. It's called Neighborhood Watch and Crime Stoppers. Crime Stoppers very cumbersome. Everybody wants to say something, but they're afraid somebody's going to come and throw a rock there and be a Charlie Chicho victim over there and have his house shot up. And I get that. I totally get that. Who wants to be seen as the rat, or the one that's going to bear the consequences for being the one that stands up? We need things for our kids, and I stress this. There's so many avenues, and it all comes back to you need to feel wanted, needed, and loved. That's what our kids need. And when they're missing that, they're going to stray if there's nothing to do. It's just a fact. We need a real cultural center. My plan is that if I can get the doctors on board and I go to these events, if each doctor looks at the amount that they're going to be giving back in taxes, and they spearhead this, because that's where their heart is, and they have the funds. I was talking to one doctor, he's giving over $100,000 a year in taxes. I said, if he can give $20,000 of that annually to us, and we can get 40 doctors, do the math, and call it the Doctors Youth Center. We can get a new swimming pool. It's not out of our reach. We can get that. There's no sense going back up to the one that's up there. Its days is come and gone. Let's build a new one. Why do we have to be second or third class people here? Let's make it right. That's what I'm going to drive for. I want an arcade in there. It may sound like a pipe dream, but it's not. It's reality. We got to grab for the stars. The funding is out there. We're going to tap into our First Nation communities, like the Silitaf I'm going to have down here at the corner, where we're going to have every flag of every First Nation down there at the corner of Ferguson and First. We're going to have a memorial there for our veterans. And I want a plaque there with all the kids from residential schools that never come home. They tore down our water tower. It may have just been a water tower to some people, but it was our landmark. We're going to have a place where we can meet and we get our kids back to being proud, and get them out to have a safe place where they can meet. Thank you.
There's a lot of questions here, a lot of really, thank you for coming to spend the time to come and do this, and I hope we can get to the questions, and especially in the way that they're being asked. And I'm making sure that I'm not missing anything. But for both candidates, how would you plan to, how do you plan to invite residents and decision-making process in your time, once you are mayor? How would you invite residents in the decision-making process when you are mayor? If either one of you want to answer.
So I've always thought that there should be open public town hall meetings, that there can be open discussion that doesn't need to be talked about and submitted first. I understand the point of having closed meetings and ones that are situated like that and designed that way, but I also think that it's important that we open a public forum so that people can talk and speak. And I'd also like to, an electronic information board. Like, we have that little board, there's never any information up on there, it's never updated. If there was, say, like a solar power ran information board that like showed activities, when town hall meetings were, boil water advisories, because I know quite a few people who don't have Facebook, especially elders, who don't know when their boiled water advisories are. And I mean, that's really the only system that we have right now, which I don't think is right that we use Facebook only, because there are some people who are very anti-Facebook, and I get it. But if there could be more channels and ways that we could involve the public and say, hey, guess what? We got a grant for this much money, and we're gonna put it towards this now. And hey, how about this? This is what we did. Start talking about things, get the youth involved, have the youth committee, have more committees opening up, like start groups and organizations so that we can get a voice to come to council and kind of filter through some of like that stuff before it gets to council so that we can make insightful changes and actually come up with a plan that people actually want to do, taxpayers, ratepayers, businesses, 30-second warning. So yeah, we just need to get people, just basically it's communication. We just need to, like, a short-term goal is just to increase communication, and we'd come so far. So I think that's how we would get people involved. I see some youth out here, so it's exciting. We need, like, the youth of the future. They're going to be the ones running it someday, so we need to start teaching them. So thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Is that? Yeah? Yes.
Okay, so this is what I have planned. We're in a 92% Indigenous community here. This is what works, what I've seen work. Instead of having a council where you can have 5 people and the mayor and two people can get together and collude and get whatever they want. I'm not saying anything's happened here, but it can happen. I say now we work by consensus. And what that means is a traditional government where 5 people sit around and they bring up a topic. And let's just say, for instance, say Dan here says, nope, not voting for it. We don't just say, nope, you're out, you've lost 3-2. We say, Dan, what are you seeing that we don't see? And maybe he changes our whole mind. Or what are we missing? And maybe we say, Dan, it's been looked after. He says, okay, good. That's called working together. And our kids, we need a youth council, the same as we have an adult council, with a youth mayor and youth councilors. Then they get involved in politics. They get to see what they can do, and they bring it to us, and we listen to them. We listen to our children. There's no reason why we can't do that. These kids need to be part of things. And also, the big thing, if you want to talk to council nowadays, you have to put a delegation sheet in. They have to review it. Then you get approved. Then you can come in, and then my time's going. But what I'm saying is at the end of that, I'm going to change that. Everybody at the end of every meeting, everybody has 5 minutes to bring their topic up. They come up, they say, I've got trouble that I have water in my ditches and I'm afraid some kid's going to fall in it and drown. Goes to that portfolio. In the next meeting, we come in and we say old business and we say, did we deal with that question? And I want that council not to have 4 people in it at a council meeting. I want it to have 40 or 50 or 75 or 100. I want to move it to a big, so community, everyone's involved. This is colonialistic thinking. We have to get back to what works in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy. We're just going to break this up, and I wanted to see who's going to answer this first, and if you get the right answer. Will that airport bridge ever be completed? Will the airport bridge ever be completed?
You want to bet it will, and this is how we're going to do it. We're not going to spend thousands and thousands of dollars of grants and have it thrown back to the government because we just didn't do anything. And we're not going to have pieces of metal staying out there that we give away for scrap metal for mere nothing. Those days are over. Accountability is coming into the game. That means I'm going to lobby the government again and ask them to forgive us for the first time for not bonding a man that should have been bonded, that the CEO and the council should never have allowed to be there to do it. And I'm going to get it done properly. And it's going to be monitored. And the person's going to have to be accountable, whoever is get it. Our local companies had to be bonded, but guess what? An outside company didn't have to be. Why do our companies here that have millions of dollars worth of equipment have to be bonded, but some guy coming in didn't have to be? Not right. Not right. That bridge can be put in as an oval bridge, like a culverted bridge. There's millions. We're going to talk to people that know how to do it and get it done quickly and get it done right. The days of dragging our heels and just being, okay, it's just Moosonee are over. That bridge will get done. It might be on a bypass off Bay Road, or it might become right back to where it is now. But there's no reason why we have to put up for this for how many years or how many terms. It's ridiculous. You have good folks, just not good leadership. And that's what I promise that I will bring. No more silliness. Get it done. Or how do they say it? Get her done. Come on, everybody. Let's have a minute.
Thank you, Randy.
So I would like to see the airport bridge be done. I was talking to a couple different people, and there's a feasibility study that it's actually easier and cheaper to build it further from the mouth. So attaching to Bay is a great idea. There's talks about maybe trying to move in a public dock somewhere in there, attaching it to trail systems. So yeah, I think that would be a great idea. But yeah, we do need a bridge. That bridge needs work. The walking bridge, like on Ferguson, needs work, and so does the one on Atim. So they're all, I mean, have you ever driven past that? And it's a little, it moves a little bit. So I mean, I think we now have, 1/3 that we require for most grants. now that we've out of different factors, I was talking to Wayne a little bit a few weeks ago, that we've finally got the 1/3 that we need to apply for these grants so that we can be given grants. So yeah, that's exciting. Things are in progress, need to find savings, and yeah, hopefully we can make something better than that tiny little bridge, because it is not the best way, and it really is the only way out. So we could kind of go talk to the different ministries and approach them and say it's a safety issue. If we need to evacuate quickly, we can't if that bridge goes out. So I think one being further from the mouth would benefit as well. Thank you.
The correct answer was, no, I'm just kidding. Because that's been there for a long time, and I think we would like to see that being completed. Just a few comments that came back from people that left some things about the youth. Invite young boys and girls into youth committees to do things in the town for youth or children. So a youth council or elders council to be part of town meetings. So I think that would be something to look into with the governance. So that was a question. There was also a comment about police presence to do community events with sports. To do community events with youth, sports, drop-in centers. Somebody was asking about building a new fire station or have all responders, police, EMS, firefighters, all in one area. Would this be available? And a comment about addicts wait too long for treatment services. Detox treatment in Cochrane is not enough. It's only 1 week. And I think for all of us to think about that, how will this change? And I think that's going to be one of the next questions. In dealing with crime and drugs with the community, having officers patrol the community and being more visible. Are there any other suggestions that you would make, being on council or being the mayor, to address those gaps in healthcare for especially people waiting to go for treatment? And you,
Well, first of all, we have to build good relationships with Moose Cree and all of our First Nation communities up the coast, and even Muskegonish. And why is that important? Because if we don't build those relationships, we can't do what we need to do. Washoe Lodge is sitting out there in the Eacham family trapline area. I've talked to people at Moose Cree. What a great place for a detox center. There is no phone. There is no place to go. And if they're serious, there's a building sitting, $1 million building sitting there that can be used. We need to get in dialogue. We need a council and a mayor that isn't getting kicked off hospital boards. It isn't a CEO that isn't getting kicked off hospital boards, identifying and representing the community. We need people that have good relationships, that can communicate in good ways, and talk from the heart and be honest. And these kids need something like that, and young and older people too, that they can go to a place like that as a detox. Why not have our own Indigenous detox? We got it in our own backyard here, folks. There's lots of money for it. They're just pouring money at us. You say, well, how? As a municipality, we're 92% First Nation. The money's there. We can tap into it. As far as police, I've said this is the way I policed. I said, guys, get out of your cars and get to know the people. Quit sitting in your car at the corner, go out and help the lady with her bag of groceries. Start getting interactive. Get to know, hey, Dexter, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? Get everybody. You get to know individuals by their first name. And then you build that community policing that everybody talks about when we go to get promoted. It's not talk, it's time for action. It's time for when we have a break and enter, or we have a bad incident happen, that people feel comfortable coming to their police and saying, hey, I want to tell you this. That's what needs to happen. And if I'm your mayor, I guarantee you that there's going to be a lot of that.
Thank you, Randy.
Sorry, could you just refresh the question quickly for me?
The question was kind of
Mix,
Yeah.
just the general.
yeah,
one
it
will
was
be
the comments, you know, with someone was suggesting youth council, elders council. They were talking about maybe more police presence, a building with all the services together, and then one was addicts waiting too long. And are there any other suggestions that you want to bring as mayor?
Okay, and so like about detox. So I don't disagree that like providing more detox centers is not a bad idea. However, with withdrawals and things that come with detox and addictions, maybe Washoe might not be the best place. But I mean, it's a great place to start to like go do cultural things with, to improve that, to like prevent the addiction or to help the addiction, I guess. What else? I think multi-service building would be great and beneficial for different ministries to kind of come together to do that. Community paramedicine has started, which has been an awesome adventure, and I'm glad to see that it's growing, and hopefully can't wait to see that grow. Hopefully community policing and paramedicine can go hand in hand. I did see some police officers playing some basketball one day with some kids. That's kind of cool. So just things to bring community together, I guess. I don't know if I fully answered that question or not. Just things like the economic development, the health ministry, indigenous affairs, infrastructure, municipal affairs and housing, because housing is a problem here as well. So, which I think does not help the addiction problem, because you have people couch surfing and then peer pressure, and then people feel like they're obligated to partake when they might not necessarily do otherwise if they had a place of their own. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. A comment from one of our people with us this evening. My family member is in a wheelchair. And are there many municipal buildings outside areas that have access for somebody in a wheelchair? So this is about handicap parking and access. How do you envision supporting the physically handicapped in a wheelchair in the town of Moosonee? For either one of you to answer.
Well, number one, it's mandated. It's law. We have to be. It's not a matter as if we want to be, and you should be, because any day, it could be one of us that falls off a ladder and be in the same spot, or we could be, or one of our children could be in a state where they are bound to a wheelchair. So this isn't how can we? It's why aren't we? And I'm saying we got to get it done. It's just that easy. Why do our sidewalks are not finished to have ramps? Why does our toilet down at the corner not have a ramp finished so people can, and kept unlocked so you can use it? It comes down to finishing, being a task finisher, and that I am. Whenever you start, you finish. You have proper people, and you don't micromanage them. You get them a task, and you hold them accountable. It's easy. There's no reason why we don't have fully accessible wheelchair ramps, washrooms out for the public. Like we think we want to take our children, the nice beautiful pathway now we have at the front that's got 8 inches of mud. I say let's build it. What are we waiting for? Let's get some lumber and let's build a nice one. You can't put gravel on it. I've heard that one. You ever tried pushing somebody in a wheelchair up gravel? Not going to work. Recycled pavement. Can we try that? Let's just get it done. Why do we dig it up and then we're going to leave it all winter? Doesn't make any sense. I think it was a last-ditch attempt to try to show the people of Moosonee that they're doing things, but they're buck short and a day late. I promise, as a mayor, I am male, aren't you, Betty? That I will get it done. Thank you.
So I imagine that the lack of access for wheelchair accessibility has something to do with funds. I would hope that that is the reason that we don't have everything wheelchair accessible. So I think that it would be important for me, if I was elected as mayor, to contact certain municipal offices and affairs, such as, say for example, we will go with economic development, job creation and trade, so people can go into these things and participate in society properly. We could go with talk to Indigenous affairs, infrastructure, intergovernment affairs, legislative affairs. We can contact them long-term care. I think we can use our voice as a municipality to go to the other affairs, other municipalities, other councils, other boards, and say, hey, listen, we matter too. We need these for everybody in our town, and it's law. It's public safety. It's a safety issue. Occupational Health and Safety Act is above all other laws. Safety is a big, huge thing. I was a Joint Occupational Health and Safety Committee member for WAHA for quite a few years, and I enjoyed my time there. You know, I had a big passion for that, for safety, for prevention. Just using our voice and trying to make a difference. I mean, how hard do people call? How many times? You're right, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So I say that all the time. I mean, a lot of these things are quite obvious what need to be done. Sidewalks. As much as I would like paved roads, we need to increase the infrastructure underneath the roads before we can consider that, or then it's just all for nothing. But I mean, we could do better for dust control, health, safety, sidewalks, for sure, sidewalk crossings. Oh, time's up, sorry, thank you, I missed it. Oh, it's not up? Oh, sorry, the 30-second warning. I was gonna say, I didn't even see the 30-second warning. But, so yeah, I've lost my train of thought, but hopefully I've answered your questions, and if not, I'll be around after. But yeah, I appreciate it, thank you.
So for the first mayoral candidates night, how are our candidates doing? What do you guys think so far? And as an audience, you guys have been really fantastic. I just want to let everyone have a little moment to breathe, and you know, this is kind of something that's new, and I thank both of you, Jennifer and Randy, for your comments and everything that you're presenting this evening. Now we're going to go to the math part of tonight's. So we're going to be asking specific questions about land taxes, utility. No, I'm just kidding. But there are questions on this, and there's quite a few. So I'm just going to do a few of the comments from people coming here tonight. Land taxes, utilities. Noting that Moosonee is one of the municipalities that pay high yearly taxes. And I would like you, both candidates, to think about these in your response coming up, about your experience managing large budgets, and if you could let us know about things like that. And if elected, what 3 steps would you take to put our town on a more firmer financial footing? So taking into consideration your experience with managing large budgets. Is that somebody's alarm? All right, and I'm gonna ask Jennifer, did you want to go first?
Sure.
Okay, and if elected, what 3 steps would you take to put the town of Moosonee on a more firmer financial footing? Thank you.
Sure, okay, so my experience in managing large budgets, I don't know how large a large budget is, but I manage my household budget. I have helped manage and work with WAHA Paramedic Service back in the day, and I also ran Moose River Tours, and I did almost all the budgets and a lot of the other stuff. My husband did just the face and the tours. No, he did more than that. No, so I did do a lot of that. I have been doing my own business courses, like not courses but certificates or anything like that, but just my own research of stuff like that. So I don't have tons, but I mean, I know that it's easier to save money than make money, and I'd like to be able to find savings in the town. The 3 steps to put on the firm financial ground. So 1, find savings. Where is the money going? Why is the money that's going out going out? Is the money that's going out needed to go out? Maybe it is, maybe it's not. Let's see where we can save and make some changes to try and help that. Also, I think we need to increase homes. So I know that there's quite a few lots available to be serviced, like behind Hutchison, the Wavy Crescent is supposed to be finished. All of these places need to do that. What about lease options? Leasing, like housing, like leasing trailer park, leasing for the small homes, so increasing that type of thing, which would also increase our tax basis, which would hopefully, if we can do that, we can reduce the municipal tax rate, because currently we can't right now, because that is used as a factor for the 1/3 in grants. So that's a bit tricky. So we need to find a different approach if we want to try and lower land taxes. But the biggest thing is the MPAC assessment. You don't want your MPAC assessment to be high. An MPAC assessment just does a basic thing. So another step would increase the financial firm ground. So entice businesses to come, support them. We shouldn't be charging large exuberance amount of money, and we shouldn't need all this red tape to go through and tons of insurance and all these fees to be paid to the town for no reason. It's not right, and we need to just promote growth and promote our tax bases and increase tourism and just promote communication for what we do have, because I get calls all the time for people just wanting information. And so yeah, just communication would be key. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer.
In my time working with the OPP, I worked and I ran a section that had a $2.5 million budget with the Aboriginal Policing Bureau. I looked after 9 detachments and First Stations and Treaty 3 and Anishinaabe Police. I looked after all their finances and made sure that everything was accounted for. So I'm well versed in looking after the almighty dollar and not to have overruns. My method the only way to bring your taxes down is you have to have volume of homes, tax-paying homes. And the way I propose to do this is this. And I want to clarify, this isn't a pipe dream on my behalf. I checked with Red Lake CAO today, and they verified that it can be done. I want to take residential, or I want to go out, like for instance, I'll use an example, Corey Road, or whatever area is designated as owned by the town. I want to put in culverts and put in building lots, and then I want to go to a young couple and say, if you want to build a home, here's your lot for $2,500. Actually, Red Lake was $1,500. They gave these lots to individuals and they could not sell them to any businesses. So Steelwood couldn't come and grab all your houses, all your lots from you. You would have a 24 to 36 month window that you had to build a house, or a structure had to be started on that property. When the deed was transferred, the town of Moosonee and that person is on the deed. Once they fulfill their obligation, our name comes off the deed. That's the way Red Lake did it. They exploded. Their houses go. The more volume of houses you have, the less your mill rate goes down. Everybody's thinking MPAC. MPAC does not set your amount of your taxes. That's a false thing that people are teaching you. It's set by the mill rate that the town puts out. So if you have $2 million out of the $6 million that you have, that $2 million, their mill rate is raised to the point where they meet their budget. That's how it happens. Got nothing to do with MPAC. Because there's so many false values out there with Waha buying houses and different places buying houses that are corporations. They're making our houses false inflation, a false number. Anyway, I hope I have more time. I'm out, but I want to explain this. It's good for young families, and it's good to bring people here to build homes and commercial companies.
Thank you, Randy. All right. This is another little bit of question with the financial part. So if you were given $1 million grant to use for anything in the community, and it needed to be spent within 30 days, we'll say, $1 million in 30 days. I know it sounds like a lot, but really. So what would you use it for and why? $1 million.
What are you gonna buy me?
The pool and more recreation equipment, period. That helps, benefits everybody. That helps public safety, that helps health and wellness, that helps kids, that helps job creation, that helps economic development. I could do that. Increase playgrounds, again, same types of things. But so, I mean, I don't know how much money that I'd have to work with, but definitely that. I don't know how much that pool takes to be wheelchair accessible, the pumps. I don't know what the cost is, but I bet you $1 million might cover it. I don't know. I'd like to do that. That would be the number one thing that I would like to do, because it would benefit every single person in this town. And it would provide a safe place for people to learn how to swim, because I'm a good swimmer, and it's a hard swim to swim in that current. And I grew up swimming in a pool my whole life, swimming in lakes, oceans, stuff like that. And it needs to be better for kids, even if it's not that pool, an above ground pool, some kind of something where we can do that. So I imagine it's quite a bit of money, because everything's quite a bit of money here, isn't it? Anyways, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Thanks for jumping up and answering that, Jen. So this question is for Randy, specifically for you to answer. You suggest a new safe location for the gym. Where would this location be?
Well, first of all, yes, we need a gym. But I want to touch on this in my 3 minutes. We have a curling rink already. Why in the pray tell would you shut down a curling rink that years ago people from Moose Factory were coming over here, we were having bond spills, we were having fun events. Why in the pray tell would you close down something that's already there? It makes no sense. For the time being, I would suggest to my council to move it to the high school. Move it to the high school. There's room there. They have a gym. Until we get the funding to build a community center with a proper gym and swimming pool, in which will come with my vision of having the doctors give back, and that will come quickly. It's not a pipe dream, it's going to happen. But for the time being, I want that curling club back where it should be. And I want community to be able to get together and curl and have fun and do things at a curling rink. We all need a gym, no doubt about it. It's a great thing. But it should not be on top of a curling rink. You know, that is a priority to me. We cannot give up something to get something that we already have. We've already got a curling rink. So a gym, yes, that's what I think it needed, and I think it should go back to the high school until we find a time where we can have it at a more suitable location.
Thank you, Randy. All right. Now, we do not have any existing libraries in the communities, nor have we had one for years, other than what's in the school. Was there any thought given in regards to how this could help with literacy struggle in our community, having a library?
Well, it's like this. If you have a kids and they're busy hands keep kids from getting in trouble. A library, you know, it may be everything's techie nowadays, but a library is a nice place where it's quiet and you can teach. It's a teaching location. We need a library. Why not? We can have it with our computers in there and things that the kids that cannot afford to have a computer at their home or have the access to the internet. That's why we need a library. Absolutely. In 2022, a modern library is something. You say, where are we going to get the money? That should be the key question to everything. Where are we going to get the money? Well, there's all kinds of grants and we need a really good grant proposal writer. We need to find somebody and bring somebody that knows how to write proper grants and proposals. And that would be my number one priority. And with that, a library would be one of our major priorities. It's that simple. You gotta get somebody that knows how to push the buttons and fill the blank spaces and knows how to get to the right people. That's why I think something as simple as a library is a major event for us, because it gives those kids that are less fortunate the opportunity to be in access to the internet and to be able to learn. Thank you.
so a library, yeah. I remember a long time ago I did apply for that Aviva Community Fund to try and get a community center library pool, but anyways, we didn't win, shocker. No, but I would like to see a library. The early reading is such a sign of success later in life. A library is a great place, like you said, to go and have internet access to computer, printer, things like that, teaching spots. So I don't know if we can get a library, and I think that and I don't want to say that there are more important things out there, but I think that we need to work together to try and come up with a space in a library. I mean, I know the high school has quite a library, spaces in the Northern College. I mean, where could we put one? You know, where it didn't necessarily have to build a brand new facility. Where could we do that? Like, we could come up with people together, you know, asking community members to submit books. There's the little library programs, even, I don't know if anyone's seen them, they're quite popular in the South, where it's an exchange program for books. I know it's not the same, but just small short-term solutions that would improve life very short and very quickly with minimal effort and minimal cost, but big gains. I mean, no, it wouldn't be a big, amazing library facility right now. I mean, 4 years to get anything done is a bit tricky. I mean, I can't make any promises of anything, but just even if we could somehow get some kind of electronic library, I know there's lots of resources out there to share that. I know that you would need internet for that, but perhaps that we could work with Northern College, we could work with the other schools to do after-school programs, 30-second warning. Reading or the reading buddy groups, I remember I did that in my elementary school, and I thought it was the greatest thing to go when a big kid came to read to me, and then it was my turn one day, and I really enjoyed it. And I would like to I'm not sure if they do that type of thing, but yeah, reading's important in the youth. And for everyone, thank you.
Thank you. All right. We're just looking at our time, and I actually have to get back to the island. Hopefully it's not too dark, and my taxi driver's down there. So you guys can stay and rumble too if I can just. All right, we have a couple of one more question from what we have here that has been submitted, and I did really try to answer everyone's questions that they had, and I tried to group them. There were some really great questions and some comments too, so please remember that, that we did have some time limits here. But one last question here is, if you can address, or when you are mayor, what do you think your main role would be in our community, in your community of Moosonee, and in the larger role in the region? What would your role be as mayor? If you want to answer that. And then we're going to wrap up with closing comments after this. Thank you.
Thank you, Phoebe. The main role of a quality mayor is you listen to people. That's what you are. You're a leader. You're the spokesperson for the town. You don't micromanage. You let your supervisors or your directors or whatever name you have on them, they let them run their section. You don't micromanage them. You put guidelines and you tell them their expectations, but then you let them do their job. My role would be to push our council to find quality people, to write proposals and get as much money in here as quick as we can, to further our culture and to have tourism go through the roof, and to have small businesses, all the gatekeepers gone. I've had one businessman has come to me already and said that he wanted to build a mini mall with a barber shop and with a laundromat. And I can go on with other things that this individual company says, but it's so cumbersome. I keep getting hit in the wall. And I said, you know what? That wall's gone. I'm going to say, what can I do to help you? That's leadership. It's not always putting a wall in front of everybody. You say, what can we do to help you? We've got to start thinking that way. and promoting businesses, promoting things to happen. Because if not, we're going to stay like I used in an analogy of a car stuck down the end of Corey Road in 2 feet of mud, and the speedometer's saying 120 kilometers an hour, but we're not moving. We need to promote every business, and it has to be fair. When you have a contract come out, everybody gets a chance to bid on it, and everybody's treated fairly, and there's no name to the quote. That is good leadership. That's what I feel this Moosonee needs, and I give you my word, that's what they're going to get. Transparency, 100%. Thank you.
So, as my role as mayor, if I were to be elected, I would be the head of council, run the council meetings, be the figurehead to the town, talk to news outlets, talk to different committees, municipalities, and be our voice, be the people's voice on what we need, what we want, what we deserve, and how we can work together to get it. We need to build relationships, communicate with different agencies, and see how we can come together to work with all of the different budgets and the different federal, provincial, and municipal budgets that we get, the different boards that we have to work in. So just to be able to come and you be able to tell me your story and me to be able to help you, to point you in the right direction, bring it to council, try and make some meaningful change from that. That's what I would like to do as your mayor. I'd like to advocate for the people. I was always an advocate to all my patients. I'm sure I was a pain in some of the nurses behind sometimes, sorry. But I didn't do it out of malice. I did it out of just because that was what needed to happen, even if it wasn't always what the policy stated, but if that's what truly was in the best interest of people, then I said something. So I know that sometimes some people think of me as quiet and I don't have much to say, but I do have stuff to say if there's stuff to say. And I'm not afraid to use my voice. And it's so nice to see so many faces out here, and just, I think that this election campaign has been an interesting one, and I think that it's nice to see so many people out and about, and this is such positive, exciting news, like moving forward as a community, to see this many people out and about and involved. Thank you.
All right. Thank you to Randy and Jennifer for being here tonight, and all of the candidates were invited by the committee, and I'd like to extend my gratitude and thanks to the committee to set this up, to approach Northern College, to get the venue, to ask me to be referee, to invite me over, and to bring you guys here. So I think a lot of things, when you're going into these types of meetings in our community about the things that need to be changed and things like that, it does take a lot of work, and it does take a lot of people putting in that work in our community. Not just the people that are elected, but the people doing the work, and the people seeing that change, and change doesn't happen overnight. And I really appreciate being invited here to moderate, and I thank everyone for writing down their comments and questions. I really wanted to put a lot more of the questions in. I hope we gave the candidates a run for their money tonight, and I really appreciate their words. And I just want to share a little story before I invite them to do your 2 minutes of your closing remarks. I'm a musher, and I just came to this late in my life, in my 40s. I'm 49 now. But when I think about what leadership is, it's somebody who, I think about the jobs I do as a musher. And we think about mushing people that they're just out there in the winter time. Mushing is a 24/7, 365 commitment to the dogs that you have. And I come from that tradition, and a lot of families here have come from that tradition, being out on the land to move their camps with their team, of making that decision to shut down that trek, to make sure that you have enough food and resources for your team. And I think about that about people coming here and having those partnerships. But I want to tell you this one story, and if you've heard it before, I apologize, but I was trying to get up to my parents' cabin. It's 15 kilometers south, in a place called South Bluff. And I was there with my 6 dogs, and I had my parka on, and there's, all these trails and everything on the river, and I decided to just choose one, or my dogs did, and we were working up a sweat, and the snow was deep. So we got to a better trail, and my dogs were getting their snow to get a bit of a drink, and I took off my big parka. I was all sweaty. I put my parka on my sled. It's like, oh. I stepped back and I went, oh, okay. My dogs took off. My team took off on me. So I went running after them. People say that, oh, I know, you're the leader. You have to make sure that your team knows you and that you know the team. And that's what I am. I was a pretty bad mayor that day because I had to walk from Doctors Creek all the way to to the winter road. And I got picked up by snow machine people who were driving around. They picked up this poor musher. But my dogs were sitting outside Quick Stop. And it was that training that we had. All 6 of them made it to Quick Stop. They didn't get into an accident, but I certainly had a lot to think about. But anyway, that's just what I want to bring to this. And I want to see more kids out on the river. And, because I think that's the most healing thing. And I want to invite our mayoral candidates for your closing remarks. Did you want to go first, Jennifer?
Sure.
Thank you so much for listening to me this evening as well.
Yes, thank you.
And Jennifer, round out your comments, and thank you so much for your voice tonight and the work that you do.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you for everything. Thank you for presenting. I appreciate it. Thank you all for coming. I hope that I will find your support in the mayoral election. If you do support me as your mayor, know that I care. Know that I'm coming from a place true in my heart. I really, truly care about this amazing little community, and I see so much vision. And I couldn't really even explain all the thoughts, because I'd bore you. You guys would be like, you're talking too much, about all the different ideas that I have that could become of this amazing little community. And really, it starts with you, because basically, it's your voice at the municipality. I would just be a person telling your words to other people, trying to explain what we need as a community and how we better move forward and thrive all together, building connections and relationships. And thank you so much. And I'll be around after if you have any other questions that weren't asked. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jennifer.
I think the number one thing I see as a leader is you're only as good as the people you surround yourself with. And I see some folks here that are running, and I'd be proud to stand with them. And I know that we have a mountain to climb, but my dearly beloved says, why in the pray tell would you're retired. Why would you want to throw your hat? Well, it's not for the $1,200 or whatever we get for a year for being a mayor, $12,000, whatever it is. It's not for the money. It's not for the pomp and pageantry. I've been a chief, I've done this. Why am I doing it? I'll tell you why I'm doing it. And if you've watched my videos, you'll know, because I care. And I want good things for these kids. While being here, I have been involved in cutting down 18 kids that have committed suicide. I see those faces each and every day when I close my eyes. And I'll tell you something, my heart is with this community. I could move down south and pay less taxes than what I'm paying here. But this is home. This is my beloved's home. Grew up here. And this is where I'm staying. And I'm here I want to do something good for this community. My heart is here. I've got stage 3 cancer, and she says, why in the world? Dude, go get your plane, do something else. No, this is where my heart is. So you're only as good as the people you surround yourself with. And I know we're going to have a solid, good council, and things are going to happen. I want to thank you very much for your time tonight. And we can make this town great again, like we did when we had 1,000 people getting off that train.
All right, I gotta go get my boat. Thank you so much. I think that's it for this evening. Thank you.
I just wanted to take this chance to say thank you to Phoebe for coming across the river and being our moderator tonight. All the questions and all the cards that everybody did, we're going to compile them and put them, give them to the mayor candidates. And if they choose to answer more of the questions that didn't get answered, they'll be able to do it on their own. But they will see your questions. Thank you.